This page is the front cover of Nintendo Official Magazine, issue 92 May. It screams N64 with that iconic logo. The main draw is a massive Turok 3 feature, promising a gore-soaked sequel ripped open for you. Sounds delightful, doesn't it? We're also teased with the latest Bond adventure, The World Is Not Enough, hitting the N64, plus a stack of N64 reviews including Track and Field, Summer Games, Operation Winback, Tony Hawk Skateboarding, and Ridge Racer. Oh, and there's a bonus 12-page Game Boy Minimag tucked inside. The cover art itself is pretty striking, with that creepy Turok creature giving us the evil eye. Classic! This page is a bright blue advert for Warysmith, encouraging you to get a free Game Boy by buying 2 Nintendo Game Boy games and getting a third absolutely free. Featured on the page are the iconic Game Boy games Pokemon Red version and Pokemon Blue version, alongside Ready 2 Rumble Boxing, Dogsers, Cats and Marble Madness. It's a fantastic offer for any retro gamer. This page is the cover of Nintendo Official Magazine, May 2000, issue 92, boasting, "Here's why we've always been the UK's biggest selling Nintendo 64 and Nintendo Mag." It showcases 6 team members, Barry, Mark, Tim, Sean, Dave and Rich, with the promise of exciting content including new Nintendo 64 and games, lots of screenshots, easy-to-understand articles, and insider tips. The page also features previews of Turok 3 and Ridge Racer, along with a free Dolphin news section and the magazine's contact details for post, email and phone. It's a classic look at what made Nintendo so dominant back in the day. This page is a cracking preview of Turok 3, Shadow of Oblivion, promising us the first ever playtest and everything we need to know, including bone-chilling levels, awesome new weapons, and every vicious monster. Plus, we get a glimpse of Ridge Racer 64, letting us know we can scream down the highway in the N64's slickest racer. The game news section is packed with updates on a whole host of titles for Game Boy Color and Nintendo 64, including Army Men Air Combat, Bomberman 64, Indie Racing League, Pokemon the 2000, and Zelda Majora's Mask. Looks like a busy month for Nintendo fans. This page is a goldmine for reviews and guides, kicking off with a look at International Track and Field Summer Games on page 16, promising Olympic glory. We're then treated to Jeremy McGrath Supercross 2000 on page 28 for some frantic motocross action, followed by the epic quest in Daikatana on page 30. For something a bit more zany, Tarzan on page 36 brings some jungle japes, and Operation Winback on page 32 offers a spy shooter experience. Rounding off the reviews is Tony Hawk Skateboarding on page 34, bringing extreme sports to the masses. Over in the Blagfest section, we're getting answers to your burning questions and a chance to win a cool prize, with WWF 2000 on page 54. Plus, there's a fantastic free pullout guide for Pokemon Stadium to help you conquer the arena. This page is a full-on assault of Turok 3, Shadow of Oblivion. It's billed as awesome action, incredible weapons and gallons of blood, and judging by the menacing creature dominating the cover, it's shaping up for its final assault. We're told it's a 3D shoot-'em-up by Acclaim, set for a September release. This looks like it's going to be a brutal and action-packed adventure. This page is a glowing review of Turok 3, Shadow of Oblivion, proclaiming it cool carnage, and the final Turok installment. The reviewer is clearly excited, highlighting the action-packed adventure, 2 new heroes, vicious enemies, and the promise of brilliant multiplayer modes. The page features a dramatic, close-up shot of a monstrous creature's head, looking suitably menacing, and a screenshot of the game in action, showing a player character wielding a weapon against a hulking enemy. It certainly looks like it's living up to its gallons of blood billing. The next page dives into Turok 3, Shadow of Oblivion, setting the scene for this jaw-dropping adventure that picks up where the last game left off. We're introduced to the new heroes, Joseph and Danielle, 2 distinct Turoks who offer different gameplay styles, allowing you to tackle the game in multiple ways. A clever move that. Joseph, the younger of the 2, is described as more cagey and suited for sniping, with a smaller frame for crawling into tight spaces. Danielle, the elder sister, is the frontrunner, charging into packed areas with guns blazing, and she even has a grapple move for reaching higher platforms. The page showcases some rather impressive screenshots of the game's environments, including what looks like a tense encounter in a futuristic city, complete with police roadblocks and a menacing giant walker vehicle. It seems the reviewer is particularly taken with the urban setting, noting the chaos and the need to find alternative routes. Honestly, the idea of a patrol craft crashing and you having to get the hell out of there sounds like pure, unadulterated Turok mayhem. This page is all about Turok 3, Shadow of Oblivion, and how to survive the big game. It starts by telling you to listen up, because paying attention to what characters say is crucial. Apparently the cops are everywhere and will shoot you, but don't worry, you can't actually kill them, though shooting at them might at least get them to move. The gameplay seems to involve navigating tricky situations, like a security fence with a gap you'll have to chance. You'll also be dealing with police who are, as the text puts it, top-notch and great block. It also highlights a key objective, finding Otis, the janitor, to open a locked door. He's described as a friendly janitor who's more than happy to help. However, there's a grim twist later on. Otis gets attacked by an evil flesh-eater and is ripped in half. Blimey, talk about a tough break. The page also gives advice on avoiding enemy fire, specifically a vehicle that can blow you to pieces. It's a real rollercoaster of advice, from dodging laser grids to dealing with what sounds like a truly gruesome demise. This page dives into the arsenal available in Turok 3, Shadow of Oblivion, showcasing some of the weapons you'll be using to tackle those intelligent foes. We get a look at the tomahawk, bow and pistol, each with its own description, and a snapshot of it in action. The reviewer seems pretty impressed with the weapon selection, noting that while the arsenal is reduced, each weapon is significantly upgraded, leading to some rather deadly blasters. It also touches on the enemies, warning us that some unassuming foes are actually quite cunning and will seek out new routes if their path is blocked. Honestly, who needs a map when your enemies can just magically find their own way around? The section on saving the game is a welcome change from Turok 2, with the reviewer clearly relieved that we won't be wasting hours only to lose a life and have to start all over again. Thank goodness for that. This page delves into the core gameplay of Turok 3, Shadow of Oblivion, highlighting key weapons and combat scenarios. We see the assault rifle and firestorm, perfect for close quarters chaos, and the cerebral bore, a rather gruesome but effective tool. The page also introduces the sneak and search tactic, advising players to be stealthy and pick off enemies from the shadows, a departure from the usual run-and-gun approach. The Turok Revisited section teases a return to a familiar level with new challenges, and the boss battles segment warns of tough encounters, recommending specific weapons like the cerebral bore to overcome them. It's clear Turok 3 is pushing for more tactical combat and challenging boss fights. This page takes a look at some of the nasty characters you'll be encountering in Turok 3, Shadow of Oblivion. We've got the mutant and guards, looking like your standard cannon fodder, but then there are the raptors and ninja, who are clearly after your hide with their speed and aggression. The Nexus of the Lost Land section seems to be the main attraction here, showcasing some rather grim environments. It warns of a galactic sewer, filled with bizarre objects and creatures pulled through time. Sounds like a delightful holiday destination. We get a glimpse of what looks like a hulking, mutated enemy, and a couple of smaller, faster foes. The advice to aim for the fleshy parts, and use double the firepower to take down the gruesome twosome, certainly sets the tone for a challenging experience. Further down, the Mummite is described as a tough boss that protects itself by ducking into its shell, while the Clone Warrior is surprisingly weak but dangerous with its claws. Finally, Bloody Encounters gives us a taste of the combat, with blood splattering everywhere and hints at dismemberment. Very Turok indeed. The mention of a laser sight for precision shooting and aiming for the melon adds a touch of dark humor to the proceedings. This all points to Turok 3 being a pretty brutal affair. This page is all about the multiplayer mayhem in Turok 3, Shadow of Oblivion. You can jump into 8 different multiplayer options, including the classic deathmatch, capture the flag, and team tag. Color tag sounds like a laugh, letting you recruit fallen foes to your team, while Arsenal of War sounds brutal, forcing you to upgrade your weapon with every kill. The screenshots showcase some truly nasty-looking enemies that are definitely out to get you, and the text highlights that up to 4 players can get involved in the action. It also revisits the earlier Turok games, with Turok Dinosaur Hunter being praised for its graphics and gameplay but criticized for its lack of multiplayer and steep price back in the day, while Turok 2 is noted for its bigger levels and improved multiplayer, though some found the levels a bit too challenging. The final section, Turok Rage Wars, is described as purely for multiplayer fun, with action-packed arenas but perhaps a bit too many weapons to get through. We think Turok 3 is a proper treat for shoot-'em-up fans, offering a really big bang for your buck. This page is a guide to the Game Boy Color's Seaside Adventures, featuring a rather grim warning about quicksand. It seems even a digital holiday isn't safe from peril, as a chap gets swallowed whole while engrossed in his Game Boy. Meanwhile, on the beach, folks are enjoying the sun, with some unfortunate soul being nabbed by a rather large green sea monster. There's also a mention of candy floss and cold drinks, because what's a seaside trip without a bit of sugary refreshment, even if you might be about to become Kraken bait? The overall vibe is a bit of a laugh, showing that even a relaxing day at the beach can turn into a bit of a nightmare. This page is a rather amusing, yet strangely cautionary, advert for the Game Boy Color, focusing on its seaside adventures. We see a chap utterly absorbed in his Game Boy, oblivious to the fact that his feet are being transformed into a grotesque, gooey mess, all under the watchful eye of the ever-present "Remember, a smart player is a safe player" slogan. It also humorously highlights how prolonged gameplay can reduce your brain's alertness, leaving you a bit dim quite literally, as the graph shows a sharp decline in brain function over time. The page offers a bizarre disclaimer from Nintendo, absolving themselves of any responsibility for accidents, even if they couldn't give a monkeys. It's a classic bit of late 90s marketing, mixing a bit of light-hearted peril with a nudge to buy the latest gadget. This page is absolutely jam-packed with reviews and information for the Nintendo 64. We've got the How They Score guide, which is always helpful for knowing if a game is actually worth your hard-earned cash. Then there's the Nintendo 64 section, featuring a rundown of games like Daikatana, International Track and Field, Summer Games, Jeremy McGrath's Supercross 2000, Operation Winback, Ridge Racer 64, Tarzan, and Tony Hawk Skateboarding. The headline game, of course, is Ridge Racer 64, which is given an awesome award, meaning it scored over 90%. They're calling it a speed monster, and claiming it might just steal Nintendo's racing crown. Bold words indeed. We also see the game's box art price, £44.99, ouch, and that it's out now. Looks like a must-play for any self-respecting racer fan. This page is a glowing review for Ridge Racer 64, hailing it as a potential new king of N64 racing. We see it's from Nintendo's own development studio, packing 25 cars and 9 tracks for some seriously fast arcade action. The reviewer is clearly impressed, noting the sharp reflexes needed to navigate those tight corners and the aggressive AI. The screenshots showcase the game's impressive graphics and gameplay, with a clear focus on speed and precision. It sounds like a real winner. This page dives into the gameplay of Ridge Racer 64, highlighting its various modes. We learn you can jump straight into a quick play, or unlock all the tracks and cars in Grand Prix mode for the long haul. For some head-to-head action, there's Car Attack, and with 3 camera angles, finding your preferred view is easy. The review also teases that some new cars can be unlocked by winning races, encouraging players to collect them all. The page showcases some of the unique cars available, like the FA Racing, RT Ryukyu, Pack Racing, and RT Solvalu, each with their own handling characteristics. It seems like Ridge Racer 64 is offering plenty of replayability for fans of arcade races. This page is a review of Ridge Racer 64, focusing on its power slides and brilliant ideas. The reviewer is clearly impressed with the game's handling, particularly the drifting mechanics, stating that mastering the power slide is essential for winning later races. They also highlight the sound design, praising the meaty car sounds and the absence of cheesy American rock music, which is a nice touch. The review also delves into the game's presentation, mentioning that the attention to detail in the background elements is amazing. Specific examples include a Gallagher screen and a TV showing a tunnel. The reviewer also points out the visual flair, like the light blur that adds to the sense of speed. A key takeaway is the variety of tracks, with 9 courses across 3 variations, and the exciting option of mirror mode. The reviewer mentions that the well-designed tracks, complete with sharp chicanes and tunnels, make replaying them enjoyable. The page also showcases different car ranks and times, giving a glimpse into the game's competitive aspect. One car, the Xevious Red, is specifically praised for its fantastic acceleration and a good top speed. Overall, the page paints a picture of a highly polished and engaging arcade racing experience. This page offers a fantastic overview of Ridge Racer 64, showing off some of the game's brilliant track design and gameplay mechanics. We're treated to a rather snazzy map, illustrating the game's routes, complete with handy arrows, and those all-important slippery road warning signs. The review text highlights that although there are only 3 core tracks, they're split into easy, medium, and hard routes, each with its own unique challenges. It sounds like the Revolution track is where things really heat up, with the reviewer suggesting you'll need to master those power slides to take on opponents and steam towards the finish line. We also get to see some in-game screenshots, showcasing the fast-paced action and the game's impressive graphics. The descriptions accompanying these screenshots offer a glimpse into the race itself, with mentions of achieving good times and keeping your raceline spot on, especially when tackling those tricky right-hand corners from the left side. It all looks like a proper blast, and the reviewer seems to be having a brilliant time tackling these tough bends. This page is a delightful map guide for Ridge Racer 64, showcasing a wonderfully winding track with helpful indicators for start/finish points, different track difficulties, and crucial power slide zones. We get a peek at the challenging first right-hander of the race, with advice to power slide early, and a tricky section where the road splits, warning of an untimely meeting with a roadside tree if you're not careful. There's also a downhill section that seems to encourage full throttle, with a hint to watch out for a waterfall on the left. It's clear the reviewer is thoroughly enjoying the high-octane action and the strategic elements of this fantastic racer. This page dives into the multiplayer and single-player aspects of Ridge Racer 64, along with a look at a couple of accessories. The multiplayer section highlights that while the two-player mode is fast and visually impressive, the four-player option suffers from a murky look, making it less thrilling. The single-player mode is praised for its quick starts and challenging tracks, with the ability to customize car colors. The page also features reviews for two steering wheels, the Top Drive 3 Logic 3, which offers good response but lacks pedals and rumble, and the Game Master G64, which is smoother, has well-weighted pedals and rumble but requires batteries. Finally, there's a game score section giving Ridge Racer 64 an impressive 92%, deeming it worth the wait for arcade racing fans. The reviewer clearly believes the game delivers on cars, speed, and tracks. This page is a full-page advert for Fanta. It's offering you and 5 mates a chance to win a 48-hour stay at Fanta House, complete with DVDs, Nintendo, pool, and a chauffeur-driven limo. You'll need to call the number provided and choose your preferred visit date. Remember to check the small print for the entry dates and requirements. This page dives headfirst into the action with International Track and Field Summer Games for the Nintendo 64. The review highlights how this game is a classic, not just for its looks but for its pure, unadulterated gameplay that's all about button-bashing marathons. It promises 14 events to master, demanding both speed and coordination, with specific advice on techniques like hammering the C buttons for some events and precise timing for others, even mentioning NOM's world records for the 100 meters dash at 9.65 seconds and 110 meters hurdles at 13.33 seconds. The javelin event is singled out as particularly tough, requiring a good mix of speed and coordination. It sounds like a real test of your thumb endurance, a proper throwback to when games were all about raw skill. This page delves into the coordination events of International Track and Field for the Nintendo 64. We get a closer look at the horizontal bar, 100 meters breaststroke, and trap shooting events. The horizontal bar challenge sounds like a real test of timing, requiring you to stop a power bar at the exact right moment to execute moves before your time runs out. The 100 meters breaststroke is described as tricky, emphasizing the need for masterfully tapping L and R on the power bar and then using the arrows for a great flash. Trap shooting, on the other hand, is all about quick reflexes, blasting 2 discs with a single bullet for maximum combos. It seems like this game really pushes your dexterity and precision. This page offers a fantastic guide to International Track and Field Summer Games on the Nintendo 64. It covers picking your game mode, with trial for getting to know the ropes and championship for the truly ambitious. The Learn the Event section is brilliant, detailing how to master each discipline through visual tutorials, with a particularly useful tip for the 110 meters hurdles. It also highlights the incredible sound design, making you feel like you're really there. Plus, we get a glimpse at the button bashers and coordination events like long jump and triple jump, with specific tips to achieve those coveted world records. The reviewer clearly thinks this game is a top-tier sports title, truly capturing the Olympic spirit. This page is a review of International Track and Field Summer Games for the Nintendo 64, focusing on how to get the best out of the game. It explains how to master the flying start by anticipating the starter gun, and the break the pain barrier events, where you need to keep mashing buttons to maintain your athlete's power. The review also highlights the See It Again feature, which allows players to replay their races from different camera angles, making for some satisfying victory replays. The game is praised for its excellent graphics and multiplayer, earning it an awesome score of 94%. It's definitely a world-class sports game that'll keep you playing until every record is smashed. This page is a review of Jeremy McGrath's Supercross 2000 for the Nintendo 64. It details the game's mechanics, including racing in muddy conditions and performing tricks. The reviewer notes that the game features 16 circuits and a track editor, which allows players to create their own courses with jumps and bends. The game is described as having a rough and tough feel, with indoor and outdoor tracks offering different challenges. The review also touches upon the game's sound effects, calling them drowned out by engine noises. While the game offers variety and the potential for fun with its track editor, the reviewer criticizes the controls as being annoying and the graphics as dodgy, ultimately giving it a score of 70%. This page is a full-page advert for Capricin XXL Orange, offering 50 pages to be won in a prize draw. You're invited to come and have a go if you think you're thirsty enough. This page dives into the world of Daikatana, a game that promises to blast players through time with guns and gore. The review praises its fast-paced action and compelling narrative, suggesting it's a brilliant blast. We're introduced to the game's premise. A warrior named Hiro Miyamoto must travel back in time to retrieve the mystical sword Daikatan, battling evil forces like Kage. The page showcases some rather blocky, but still characterful, 3D models of the game's main characters, Hiro Miyamoto, Mikiko Ebihara, and Superfly Johnson, giving a glimpse into the game's cast and their roles. It's quite the retro gem. This page brings us Daikatana's review, and well, it's a bit of a mixed bag, isn't it? The reviewer seems to think the sound effects are decent enough, but sadly the levels are a bit of a letdown. We're told your adventure begins in a 25th century fortress, where you'll be prowling through dark corridors fighting giant robots. Then, it's off to Norway to face flesh-eating monsters and dodge some rather nasty green acid. Apparently, the robot baddies don't mess around, so you'll need to blast them with your guns. On the multiplayer front, there's a dual quest mode where you're racing to collect colored crystals. Overall, the reviewer reckons Daikatana is an ace shoot-'em-up, but not one of the best, with the single-player game being far too short and the multiplayer only offering fleeting fun. It's a 72% from them, and they suggest you might want to give it a miss. Oh, and they also mention Quake 2 as a much better blaster, which is a bit of a burn for Daikatana. This page is all about Operation Winback for the Nintendo 64, and it looks like a proper adrenaline rush. The headline, "Be quick on the trigger with this slick, action blockbuster," really sets the tone. It's hyping up the game as a must-have, and I can see why. The review itself calls Operation Winback a game to look out for in 2000, and it even mentions the star of the show, Jean-Luc Cougar, who apparently loves getting loose with some lead. The screenshots show off some impressive-looking gameplay, including a satellite hovering above Earth and some intense close-quarters combat. The review highlights the game's moves, like forward rolls and leaping out from behind pillars, and there's even a peekaboo move that sounds pretty slick. The game also supports multiplayer, which is always a bonus. It sounds like a real solid shooter with plenty of action. This page is a review of Operation Winback for the Nintendo 64. The reviewer praises the game's engage-your-brain gameplay, emphasizing its blend of planning and sneaking. The looks section highlights spot-on character movements and well-designed levels, calling it a real sizzler. The sounds are also commended for matching the mood, with loud and proud gun effects. The cool tools section delves into the game's weaponry, mentioning the pistol's unlimited ammo and the shotgun's effectiveness. It also touches on the rocket launcher and the destructive potential of blowing up crates. The reviewer notes that finding ammo for some weapons might be tough. The kicking ass section offers gameplay tips, advising players to always go for a target lock-on using the Z button to avoid revealing their position. It also points out that shooting enemies in the back takes only one shot. The game's length is described as having few save points, making it a monster of a game. Overall, the review gives Operation Winback an impressive 90%, calling it brilliant once you master the controls, and a game that will keep you coming back for more, even if it's not a Bond beater. This page features a glowing review for Tony Hawk Skateboarding, declaring it awesome. The reviewer is clearly impressed by the game's ability to deliver fat air and awesome tricks, and highlights the variety of modes, including career, single session, and free skate for perfecting your boarding technique. The screenshots showcase some slick skateboarding action, with scores and trick names like 1080 and Impossible. It's a real blast from the past, and the reviewer clearly thinks it's a must-have for any skater. This page dives into the multiplayer modes of Tony Hawk Skateboarding, highlighting graffiti, horse, and trick attack as brilliant two-player options that are just as fun as the single-player experience. The reviewer praises the game for its awesome tricks and moves, awarding it a fantastic 90% and an awesome rating, particularly for its two-player mode. It also mentions a competition to meet Lucy Sky and win prizes, with the website www.royalmail.co.uk/breaktime to find out more. This page gives us a look at Disney's Tarzan for the Nintendo 64. The reviewer is clearly chuffed, proclaiming it awesome, and highlighting its top platform action and groovy games. They mention Tarzan's quest to save the jungle from Clayton, describing the game as a fun, 2D side-scrolling adventure that's a nice change of pace from Donkey Kong 64. We get a glimpse of the gameplay, with Tarzan swinging through the jungle, and the text points out the need to watch out for those pesky raccoons that curl into a ball. It also praises Turk, the friendly gorilla, as Tarzan's real sweetie and big sister figure, offering sound advice. The elephant stampede looks like a particularly exciting challenge, and the vine-swinging mechanic is described as a cool way for Tarzan to collect goodies. Price check, a cool £39.99, and it's out now. This page dives deep into Disney's Tarzan for the Nintendo 64, showcasing the journey from a boy to a man and the rules of conquering the jungle. The reviewer is quite impressed, highlighting the game's 2D side-scrolling nature with lush jungle backdrops and wicked character movements, promising heaps of platforming fun. We're introduced to Clayton, the villainous hunter, and the variety of jungle critters Tarzan must face, like the aggressive monkeys who throw fruit and the rather poisonous frogs. It sounds like a proper challenge, with collectibles like Tarzan tokens for extra lives, and Tarzan letters unlocking story screens, all requiring some vigorous bashing of the jungle floor to access. It's another fantastic look at a Disney game, on the N64. This page continues the review of Disney's Tarzan for the Nintendo 64, focusing on how to navigate the jungle and engage in combat. It explains how to use elephants for high jumps and bouncy bird nests to reach hidden areas, even mentioning using a grumpy rhino for an epic leap, though cautioning against its horns. We also get a glimpse of Kala, Tarzan's ape mother, in a heartwarming screenshot. The combat section introduces Saber, the leopard, as Tarzan's first enemy, and hints at more challenging encounters with Clayton later on. The game is praised for its magic moments, and packed with amazing set pieces, comparing them favorably to a Disney film. The review concludes that while it might not be the hardest platformer for seasoned gamers, it offers heaps of fun, and is a perfect challenge for younger players, earning a solid 90% game score. There's also a mention of Donkey Kong 64, being a great platformer. This page is a full-page advert for Now 45 featuring artists like Melanie C., Lisa Left Eye Lopes, Gabrielle, Shania Twain, Craig David, Tom Jones, Stereophonics, Britney Spears, Gary Halliwell, Backstreet Boys, Robbie Williams, Artful Dodger, Romana Johnson and Fragma. It was released on the 17th of April, 2000. This page is a massive advert for Gameplay, a UK retailer, offering a huge sale on Nintendo 64 consoles and games. They've got special prices on consoles like the N64 in iMac colors, plus a massive list of N64 games, accessories like the Rumble Pack and memory cards, and even Game Boy titles. They're also flogging carry cases, hint books, and a steering wheel with pedals. It's basically a gamer's paradise, with a money-back guarantee, and free 48-hour delivery to boot. Bargain hunters, assemble! This page is a fantastic showcase for the Nintendo 64, with Yoshi front and center. We're promised that every single game is tested, plus all the extra gear, and that everything is changed and updated every month. It looks like we're getting a guide to all the new N64 gear, with cool kit like rumble packs and memory packs, as well as some pointers on games to look out for, including a mention of Pokémon Stadium. Plus, there's a handy guide to the scoring system, from real rubbish to amazing game you must play, and a voucher for £5 off 64 games. It's all about getting the most out of your console, and the magazine is here to help. This page is a veritable smorgasbord of Nintendo 64. Goodness, we've got a Gotta Get 'em section with some killer N64 titles, including Pokémon Stadium, Perfect Dark, and Banjo-Kazooie, all with handy "what's it about," how it plays, and what we think blurbs from the reviewers. Then it's a whirlwind tour of other N64 releases, like Beetle Adventure Racing, Charlie Blast, Command & Conquer, and even a blast from the past with Duke Nukem 64. We've got reviews of all the big hitters, from the sports action of All-Star Tennis and All-Star Baseball 2000, to the quirky fun of Body Harvest and Bomberman 64. Plus, there's a look at what's coming next with Conker's Bad Fur Day and Resident Evil 0. It's a comprehensive guide to the N64 library, with something for every gamer. This page is a fantastic rundown of Rumble Pack-compatible N64 games, offering essential details for any discerning gamer. We've got Duke Nukem 0 Hour, Earthworm Jim 3D, European PGA Tour, and ECW Hardcore Revolution all getting the thumbs up, along with F1 Pole Position, F1 World Grand Prix 2, and FIFA 98 RTWC. Plus, there's Gauntlet Legends and Fighters Destiny. Plus a look at Extreme G. It's a great guide for those looking to rumble with the best of them. This page is a brilliant guide to the best multiplayer N64 games available, with a particular focus on those that make use of the Rumble Pack. We've got everything from Iggy's Wrecking Balls and ISS-64, to Jet Force Gemini and Killer Instinct Gold, all reviewed with those all-important pros and cons. There's also a look at the latest memory cards and controller packs, with the Joytech controller pack being a real standout. Plus, we delve into the world of racing with Daytona USA and Ridge Racer Revolution, and even get our hands on some classic arcade action with Mortal Kombat 4 and Mario Kart 64. It's a real must-read for anyone looking to get the most out of their N64. This page is a cracking cover for Game Boy Color, featuring Snake from Metal Gear Solid in a dynamic pose, hinting at the game's debut on the platform. We've got the essential rundown of what's hot in the N64 world with news and previews, every N64 game tested, and pads and pucks, all promising to fill your gaming boots. Plus, there's a freebie on offer, with loads of stuff in Blagfest P12. Dive into the game and watch 3 feature, and get the lowdown on Rainbow Six, the stealthy sim that's creeping onto GB. And don't forget the essential Game Boy tips, to help you conquer any gaming challenge. This page is a treasure trove of Game Boy goodness, featuring a massive review of Metal Gear Solid. Our expert reviewers, clearly having a blast, assure us that this stealthy espionage title is a must-play, earning it the coveted Awesome Award. We also get a peek at the scoring system, from real rubbish to the highly sought-after, amazing game you must play. The page showcases some rather pixelated but still intriguing screenshots of the game in action, promising a deep dive into a world of terrorists and nuclear devices. It's all very dramatic, and, dare I say, rather brilliant for the little grey handheld. This page gives us a fantastic overview of Metal Gear Solid on the Game Boy Color. The review, titled Be the Best, paints a picture of Solid Snake embarking on a daring mission in Alaska and then Central Africa to stop terrorists from using a powerful weapon. We see Snake in action, with a brief glimpse of a dialogue box showing him meeting Colonel Campbell, who is described as a leading secret agent. The accompanying screenshot shows Snake entering an enemy HQ, which looks rather familiar to anyone who's dabbled in the series. It's clear the reviewer was thoroughly impressed, echoing the sentiments from the previous page about it being an awesome title. This page dives into the gameplay of Metal Gear Solid, focusing on how to select your game modes and offering tips on survival and weaponry. It highlights the VR training mode for honing skills before the main event, and a 2-player deathmatch mode. We see screenshots of Snake sneaking past guards and engaging in combat. The review praises the game's story, action and weapons, awarding it a stellar 93%, and calling it a classic Game Boy game that would be foolish to miss. It also touches upon using the codec to get advice from Colonel Campbell and Mei Ling, your intelligence team support. The page offers advice on staying protected using the environment and how to crawl through grass undetected. Definitely a solid recommendation for any stealth action fan. This page features a roundup of several Game Boy Color titles, including Game & Watch Gallery 3, F1 World GP2, Wings of Fury, Speedy Gonzales, and Cats and Dogsy. For Game & Watch Gallery 3, the reviewer notes its easy pick-up-and-play nature and the fun of racking up high scores, giving it a 90% score. F1 World GP2 is praised for its thrilling racing, though the reviewer mentions a lack of significant improvements, awarding it 89%. Wings of Fury gets a thumbs up for its World War II fighter plane action and bombing gameplay, scoring 86%. Speedy Gonzales offers some decent platforming action, but the reviewer finds it a bit dull after a few minutes, giving it 68%. Finally, Cats and Dogs, a virtual pet game, is deemed cute and worth a look for something different, with a score of 85%. The page also includes helpful gameplay tips and screenshots for each title. This page is a fantastic showcase of Game Boy Color reviews, featuring 3 absolute classics. First up, we've got Toy Story 2, and frankly, the reviewer isn't pulling any punches, calling it dire and dull. Apparently the graphics are a bit rubbish, and the action is so frustrating you'll be binning it after a few goes. Ouch. A dismal 71% game score for this one. Next we delve into Beauty and the Beast, a game that's apparently a hit with younger players and cartoon fans, thanks to its 3 difficulty settings and minigames. It's praised for saving Beast and bouncing logs, a real hoot. Finally, Supercross 2000 gets a rave review. It's all about getting your biking gear on and hitting the dirt track, with arcade and season modes to keep you busy. The reviewer loves nailing those last jumps and stealing the lead, calling it the best biking game on the platform and a good value for money. A smashing 84% for this one. Then there's Tonka Raceway, where you get to drive F1 cars, dump trucks, and bulldozers. The reviewer finds the motors cool but overtaking a bit tricky. The real star here is the Rumble Pack, making it a proper smash and grab experience. However, the controls are apparently a bit annoying, leading to a 70% score. It sounds like quite the ride though. This page is the front cover for Pokémon Stadium Master Guide, a truly epic magazine for anyone who wants to dominate the Pokémon arena. We see a collection of beloved Pokémon, including Mewtwo, Blastoise, Charizard, Bulbasaur, Meowth, Poliwag and Pikachu, all looking ready for battle. The bold red and yellow text proudly proclaims it's the Master Guide, promising to equip you with everything you need to battle like a pro, build a world-class team, and master every mode. Plus there's a win section hinting at awesome Pokémon prizes up for grabs on page 16. Sounds like a proper bargain. It's a vibrant and exciting cover that perfectly captures the anticipation of diving into the world of Pokémon Stadium. This page gives us a fantastic rundown of what's inside the Pokémon Stadium Master Guide. We've got sections covering everything from building your ultimate team and mastering all the modes, to specific cup challenges like the Pika Cup and the Prime Cup, all detailed with page numbers. There's also a look at the different gyms and the Elite Four, plus some Poké Extras, and a monster competition. It's a comprehensive guide, promising to help you become a Pokémon Stadium champion. The Into Battle section gets you hyped for the game, explaining how to conquer opponents, while Stadium Mode highlights the different cups and Gym Leader Castle. Poké Extras teases rewards, and the Monster Competition section sounds like a chance to win some serious Pokémon swag. This page delves into the crucial concept of Pokémon types, explaining how they dictate the strengths and weaknesses of each creature. It highlights that understanding these types is key to winning battles, with a fire Pokémon, for instance, trouncing grass, ice, and bug types, but being vulnerable to water and rock Pokémon. The guide also introduces the idea of dual-type Pokémon, emphasizing that mixing and matching these types can give players a significant strategic advantage, making their teams more versatile and harder to beat. It showcases a handy chart listing various Pokémon and their types, which is essential for any serious trainer. This page tackles the age-old question for Pokémon trainers: rental Pokémon versus your own trained ones in Pokémon Stadium. It explains that while rental Pokémon are readily available for tournaments, your hand-reared companions from the Game Boy Adventure are generally more powerful. The guide uses screenshots to illustrate how to compare Pokémon stats, emphasizing that even at the same level, your own Pokémon will likely have superior attack, defense, speed, and special stats. It also touches on the importance of registering qualifying Pokémon from your Game Boy for tournaments, suggesting it's better than relying on rentals. Ultimately, the page champions the dedication of training your own team for victory. This page dives into the battle basics of Pokémon Stadium, offering a vital guide to understanding type matchups. It highlights how to use a handy chart to determine the effectiveness of attacks between different Pokémon types, a crucial element for any aspiring Pokémon master. We learn that a tick symbol signifies an effective move, a circle indicates a poor matchup, and an X means the move is useless, or as they amusingly put it, pants. It also touches upon the 3 categories of moves: attack, defense, and tactical, advising players to focus on attacking moves for quick victories. There's a great tip about not missing opportunities to attack, as the opponent will certainly capitalize on your mistakes. The page also features an insightful blurb on Fearow, praising its stamina and ability to stay airborne, making it a strong contender in stadium battles. All in all, it's an essential read for anyone looking to conquer the challenges of Pokémon Stadium. This page is all about mastering the art of advanced battling in Pokémon Stadium. It dives into critical hits, explaining that certain moves are more likely to land a critical hit, and lists some examples like Thunder, Hydro Pump, and Fire Blast. Then, it moves on to disabling attacks, covering poison moves that drain energy and can disable Pokémon, sleep moves that leave opponents open for attack, and confuse moves that can make opponents attack themselves, though it wisely advises using these only with a type advantage. The page also offers some cracking advice on using move PPS wisely. It stresses the importance of checking your move list before a battle, and being judicious with moves that have low PPS, especially those that offer a one-hit knockout but have a low chance of success, like Fissure. It also wisely points out that if your opponent has only a little energy left, don't waste a low PP move when a high PP move like Tackle will do the job. And for those tricky Pokemon trouble situations, where your Pokemon's type is weak against the opponent, it offers some solid advice. It suggests learning about TMS, like Fire Pokemon Vulpix learning the Ghost move Confuse Ray, and even experimenting with odd TMS to give your creatures an edge against super effective enemies. This page is a must-read for anyone wanting to truly conquer the stadium. This page from Nintendo Pokemon Stadium Master Guide features the Kids Club, which offers tips and tricks for various minigames. We see strategies for Magikarp Splash, advising players to pace themselves and time their jumps. Thundering Dynamo challenges players to time button presses to power up their Pokemon and electrocute opponents, with a key tip on not pressing too soon. Clefairy Says is presented as a Simon Says variant, requiring memory skills to repeat sequences. Run, Rattata, Run involves timing jumps over hurdles, and the advice suggests not panicking and hitting hurdles. Eakon's Hoop Hurl tasks players with throwing Eakons onto Diglets that pop up from the ground, with a tip about aiming for quick points. Finally, Snore War has players trying to stop Snorlax from falling asleep by pressing A when a pendulum hits a spot, emphasizing rhythm and timing. Rock Harden helps players use a harden ability to avoid falling rocks, with advice to look at shadows for timing. This page dives headfirst into the nitty-gritty of Pokemon Stadium's cups, specifically the Petit Cup and the Pika Cup. It's your go-to guide for tackling the most challenging trainers, with detailed breakdowns of their Pokemon lineups and vital tips on type advantages. For the Petit Cup, expect to face trainers like Bugboy, Ladpidgey, and even Nerd, with advice on using fire and flying types against Bugboy's team and how electrics are a great counter for many opponents. The Pika Cup, on the other hand, focuses on lower-level Pokemon, with a combined level limit of 50. Here you'll find strategies against trainers like Bugboy again, but with a different set of Pokemon, and hints on using ground and flying types to your advantage. It's a solid guide to mastering the cups, and honestly, who doesn't love a good strategy for overcoming those tough gym leaders and trainers? This page is all about mastering the Pokemon Stadium Cups, focusing on the Poké Cup and the Poké Great Ball Cup. We're diving into the first round of the Poké Cup, where you'll face trainers like Biker Nidoran, Rocker Voltorb, and Juggler Drowsy. There's some cracking advice here, like using Psychic and Electric types against Jugglers Ghastly and Hitmonchan. Smart stuff. It also highlights your final battle against Old Man Dratini, with a tip to switch Pokemon as needed. Then we move on to the Poké Great Ball Cup, where the trainers are back with new collections of Pokemon and they're all set at level 51. This is where things get serious. You'll be up against Beauty Horsey, Psychic Kadabra, and Tamer Eevee, among others. The guide gives you the lowdown on using electric and water types against Beauty's team, and suggests Psychic types will absolutely smash it against the Ghost types in this cup. It even throws in a fun fact about Ivysaur's backflower. A nice touch for the real fans. This page is a comprehensive guide to tackling the Poké Cup and the Ultra Ball tournament in Pokemon Stadium. It breaks down each round, showcasing the trainers you'll face and their Pokemon lineups, complete with recommended strategies. For instance, in round 1 of the Poké Cup, you'll face Biker Arbok with a team including Venomoth and Muck, and the guide wisely suggests Psychic types will prove effective. It also highlights round 4 against Beauty, featuring Kabutops and Dugong, recommending electric and water types for victory. The page also offers general advice, such as switching Pokemon when your opponents are dealing more damage and the importance of type matchups. A particularly amusing tidbit is the warning that if you feel a sudden chill, it's probably a Gengar trying to curse you. This page delves into the Prime Cup tournament in Pokemon Stadium, presenting a breakdown of each round and the trainers you'll face. It highlights that all opposing Pokemon are set at level 100, so a strategic approach is crucial, especially knowing your opponent's Pokemon types. The guide offers tips for each round, suggesting which Pokemon types will be most effective. For example, it advises using electric and water types against the Gambler in round 4. Interestingly, it also mentions that Gyarados was almost named Skullkraken. The page then transitions to the Great Ball Tournament, noting that the challenges remain tough, with all Pokemon at level 100, and offering similar strategic advice for each round. It's a solid guide for anyone looking to conquer these challenging cups. This page is all about conquering the Prime Cup in Pokemon Stadium. It breaks down each round, telling you who you'll be battling and, crucially, what Pokemon they'll be using. All the opposition are level 100, so you'd better have your best team ready. There are some handy tips sprinkled throughout, like how Zapdos is a brilliant all-rounder thanks to its electric, flying and psychic moves. It also gives us a glimpse of Cloyster, a Pokemon with a shell tougher than diamonds that can also fire spikes. It's a must-read for anyone aiming to become the ultimate Pokemon master. This page is your essential guide to tackling the gym leaders in Pokemon Red and Blue. We've got the lowdown on Brock in Pewter Gym, who's all about rock and ground types. Then it's off to Vermilion City to face Surge, your electric type specialist. For Brock, it's a no-brainer. Water and grass types will have him running for the hills, and all his Pokemon are a level 50 challenge. You'll face Caterpie, Weedle, Metapod, Kakuna, Beedrill, and a surprisingly tough Butterfree. Then there's the Bug Boy with his grass types, the Psychic-wielding Bulbasaur, Ekans, and Gloom, and the rock-hard Onix, Graveler, Omanyte, and Kabuto. Surge, on the other hand, will hit you with a team of electric types, like Voltorb, Electrode, Pikachu, Electabuzz, and Magnemite. Remember, Pikachu has a nasty surf move that can really mess with your ground types, so be prepared. The guide also covers Lieutenant Surge's electric-type Pokemon, including some from his team and other trainers you'll face. It's a great breakdown to help you prepare for these early game battles, and is a must-have for any aspiring Pokemon master. This page continues our comprehensive Pokemon Stadium Master Guide, focusing on the Saffron, Cinnabar, and Fuchsia gyms. We delve into the strategies for defeating Sabrina, whose psychic Pokemon are formidable. Then we tackle Blaine's fiery Cinnabar gym, where fire and normal types reign supreme. Finally, we prepare you for Koga's Fuchsia gym, a poison-type challenge. The guide offers valuable tips, such as using water and rock types against certain opponents, and recommends specific Pokemon to bring into battle. It also highlights Articuno, a truly powerful Pokemon you can catch. This page dives into the Elite Four Castle and the final battle of Pokemon Stadium. It explains that after defeating all the gym leaders, you'll face the Elite Four, with all their Pokemon at level 50. The guide offers tips for each of the Elite Four members, including Lorelei, Bruno, Agatha, and Lance, suggesting specific Pokemon types to use against them. For instance, Water and Psychic types are recommended for Lorelei and Agatha, respectively, while Electric and Psychic types are advised for Bruno. The page also features a section on the Big One, detailing the final challenge against Mewtwo. It notes that after completing the tournament you can face Mewtwo, and suggests using Psychic-type Pokemon to counter it, even recommending a strategy of putting Mewtwo to sleep and then using Ditto to duplicate it. Additionally, there are Poke Extras, covering colorful Pokemon and GB Speed Awards. The former explains that your Pokemon's appearance in Stadium can change color, based on your trainer-ridden nicknames. The latter highlights that you can play your GB adventure in Pokemon Stadium with the transfer pack, and even speed up the gameplay for a faster training experience. Finally, the Surfing Pikachu section describes how to unlock a special Surfing Pikachu game in Pokemon Yellow, and win a special award screen by using Pikachu in battles. It also mentions a bonus Pokemon section, which hints at winning rare Pokemon by being skilled in Pokemon Stadium. This page is a fantastic competition page titled Mega Poke Challenge. It's offering 4 huge bundles of Pokemon goodies and toys to be won. To enter, you need to play the game, Sushi Go Round, and get your highest score. Then, send a photo or video of your top score to Nintendo official magazine, Mega Poke Challenge, at a specific London address by Monday, May 15th. The 4 highest entries will bag themselves a bumper bundle of Pokemon prizes, including an N64 game of their choice. It's a great chance for all you Pokemaniacs to grab some awesome loot. Down below, the next month section teases what's to come, promising battle tactics, information on Pokemon you'll encounter in the Stadium and Gym Leader Castle, and details on secrets and extras within the game. They also hint at advice for training your Game Boy Pokemon team for the Stadium. The accompanying images show off some impressive Pokemon figures, including a very plush Pikachu, a Game Boy Color, and various Pokemon characters like Squirtle and Bulbasaur, all looking ready for action. We even get a sneak peek at what looks like an in-game battle sequence, with some fierce-looking Pokemon, and the iconic Pokemon Stadium logo. This page features a collection of fast reviews for various Game Boy Color titles. We've got Track and Field, giving you the chance to become an Olympic champion with its 10 events and intense button-bashing action, scoring a respectable 88%. Then there's ECW Revolution, a brutal wrestling game that, while good, doesn't quite hit the mark, earning a 78%. Tom and Jerry offers platforming fun, but falls short with weak graphics and tough difficulty, only managing 62%. Classic Bubble Bobble is another disappointment, failing to live up to its legendary status with a score of 64%. Rainbow Six gets a solid 88% for its tactical stealth action, and Army Men, despite its packed missions, is a bit too easy for long-term enjoyment, scoring 74%. Finally, Noddy and the Birthday Party is a charming adventure for younger players, but ultimately too simple for older gamers, receiving a 55%. This page is all about kitting out your Game Boy with some essential and cool accessories. We've got the classic purple Game Boy Color on show, proudly sporting a carry pouch for £6.99 and featuring the rather amusingly titled Wild Things. Then there's the Pocket Power Pack, costing a steep £11.99, which promises to keep your Game Boy juiced up for 3 hours, allowing you to game on the move. There's also a mention of Mad Cats and their Gamers Pack for £19.99, likely a bundle of goodies to keep your Game Boy gear all in one place, safe from prying siblings no less. The page also highlights some awesome games that are absolute world beaters. We're treated to a glimpse of David O'Leary's Total Soccer, a footy game featuring Premier League teams that sounds like a must-have for any football fan. Next up is Mickey's Racing Adventure, promising madcap races on wacky tracks. And of course, no Game Boy Color roundup would be complete without Miss Pac-Man Special Color Edition, bringing that arcade classic to our favorite handheld. Finally, we have Tomb Raider, which sounds like a decent attempt at bringing Lara's exploring and action-packed adventures to the Game Boy Color. It really is a comprehensive guide to enhancing your Game Boy experience. This page is a full-page advert for the World Port, an email solution for Game Boy, costing £24.99. It also showcases the GB Organizer for £12.99. This page is jam-packed with essential tips for Game Boy Color owners, all promising to improve your gaming prowess. We've got the lowdown on Mario Golf, revealing how to unlock secret characters like Putz and Wario, and even power up your golfer with hidden mushrooms. Then, it's time to put the pedal to the metal with Star Wars Racer, offering tips on recharging your pod and finding a crucial shortcut on the Tatooine race. Finally, we dive into the classic fun of Game & Watch Gallery 3, hinting at secrets like the music room and museum unlockables. It's a real treat for any Game Boy fan looking to get the most out of their library. This page is a treasure trove of Game Boy Color cheats and tips, covering a variety of popular titles. We kick off with Official Nintendo Top 5 Tips, featuring advice for Anots, Men in Black, Clax, Zen-Type DX, and Spy vs. Spy. Wario Land 2 gets some love too, with tips for treasure hunting and unlocking level select. Then, we delve into Top Gear Rally for some driving secrets, including unlocking all cars and improving cornering. Harvest Moon players can learn how to get extra goodies, like stealing money from Grandpa and watering crops efficiently. The Quick Tips section offers advice for DW Monsters, with a hidden character cheat, and Supreme Boarding for unlocking levels and a bonus course. Turok Rage Wars also gets a mention for an all-weapons cheat. Finally, Pokemon Red and Blue fans can discover how to find Express, all and navigate Saffron City Gym. The page even includes a Give Us a Call section for those needing gaming assistance, with phone-in details. It's a solid page for anyone wanting to master their Game Boy Color library. This page is a fantastic competition feature, offering readers the chance to win some top Game Boy Color goodies. We've got prizes for Metal Gear Solid, Worldport, and a whole host of other great games. You can snag a Game Boy Color with cats, dogs, Tom and Jerry, and classic Bubble Bobble, or even win a copy of Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six. To enter, you just need to answer a few questions about these classic titles. The page also includes essential how-to-win instructions, detailing exactly what to do with your postcard entries. It's a proper throwback to the days when winning cool gaming swag was a major draw. This page is a brilliant review of various Nintendo 64 accessories and games. We start with a look at some steering wheels, including the Formula Race Pro, V3FX Racing Wheel, and the Jordan Grand Prix wheel, all reviewed with their pros, cons, and prices. Then we dive into game reviews. Nuclear Strike, Off-Road Challenge, Olympic Hockey, Paperboy, and Penny Racers all get a score and a brief rundown from the reviewer. We also see Monaco GP, Monster Truck Madness, Multi-Racing Championship, Mystical Ninja and Mystical Ninja 2, plus NBA Jam, NBA Live 99, NBA Live 2000, NBA Courtside, NBA Pro 99, NFL Quarterback Club 98, NFL Quarterback Club 99, NFL Quarterback Club 2000, NHL 99, NHL Breakaway 98, NHL Pro 99 and finally Pokémon Stadium and Premier Manager 64, all with their respective scores and reviews. It finishes with Quake 2, getting a massive 91%, a proper showcase of the N64's library and its peripherals. This page is all about the N64's sales chart, and what a chart it is. Electronics Boutique is offering a whopping £5 off any top 10 N64 game with this voucher. We've got the top 10 games listed, and then it dives into individual game reviews. We see Quake, Rakuga Kids, Rainbow Six, Revolt, Robotron 64, Rampage 2, Rat Attack, Ready 2 Rumbles, and Rayman 2, all with their scores and brief summaries of what makes them tick. It also features ECW Hardcore, Ridge Racer 64, Operation Winback, and Tony Hawk's. Plus, there's a rental chart, showing us what's hot in the shops, and a reminder that N64 games aren't cheap, so renting is a smart move. Really, a fantastic showcase of N64 goodness. This page is a fantastic look at N64 controllers, featuring the official N64 controller, Manta Ray, Stingray 64, and Evolution control system. We also get a rundown of some top games like Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, Super Mario 64, Road Rash, Scars, Rogue Squadron, Shadow Man, South Park Rally, Snowboard Kids, Supercross 2000, Tonic Trouble, Top Gear Overdrive, Rugrats Treasure Hunt, Silicon Valley Rush 2, 1080 Degrees Snowboarding, Sarge's Heroes, South Park Chef's Love Shack, Starshot, Tigi Rally 2, Tetrisphere, and the new Tetris. It's a comprehensive guide to get the most out of your N64 experience, with plenty of opinions on what's good and what's not so good. This page is a jam-packed review section, giving us the lowdown on a load of N64 titles. We've got everything from the zany platforming of Toy Story 2 to the fast-paced action of Turok Rage Wars and WWF Attitude. The reviewer is clearly a fan of the wrestling games, proclaiming WWF Warzone and WWF WrestleMania 2000 as lightning-fast action and excellent combos, and right up there with the excellent WWF Attitude. Even the more unusual picks like Virtual Pool and Weetrix get a nod, with the latter being described as super playable. It's a proper snapshot of what was hot on the N64, with some sharp, opinionated reviews that really capture the gamer's spirit of the time. Oh, and Zelda? It's called the best game in the world, so you know it's good. This page is a mail-order advert from Virtual Reality, featuring a fantastic range of Nintendo 64 and Game Boy games and accessories. You can snag a 4-game N64 pack for £124.99, or a 2-game pack including GoldenEye and Mario Kart for £94.99. Super Smash Bros. Is £39.99, while Game Boy Color games and accessories are also available. They accept credit cards and postal orders, and you can even get a Game Boy Color for £59.99. What a deal! This page is a treasure trove of top tips for Nintendo 64 gamers, covering a variety of titles. We get the lowdown on beating King K, Cool in Donkey Kong 64, and some essential cheats for Rocket Robot on wheels, including super speed and low gravity. NBA Jam 2000 offers a super speed tip, while Hydro Thunder reveals a sneaky shortcut. Earthworm Jim fans can unlock Mini Gym, and Resident Evil 2 players can discover how to be invincible. Paperboy offers delivery codes for untimed gameplay and level selects. Finally, there are tips for Super Smash Bros., Xena Warrior Princess, and Mortal Kombat 4. Plus, a fun bit about calling the Nintendo official magazine team for gaming advice. This page is a fantastic competition feature, offering readers the chance to win a boatload of gaming goodies. We're talking Sega Dreamcast, PlayStation 2 with Ridge Racer and a memory card, Nintendo 64 consoles, and even £150 worth of games. Plus, there's a chance to snag Pokemon Red and Blue with a Game Boy Color, or loads of Pokemon merchandise. Fancy some wrestling? You could win tickets to Earl's Court, or wrestling t-shirts and videos. There's also a chance to win a mini disc player, a Toshiba laptop, a Pentium 2i PC, a Combi TV and video, and a DVD player. Don't forget the chance to win a mobile phone, described as pay-as-you-talk. It's a real gamer's dream with a massive list of games to call about too. This page is packed with tips and tricks for a variety of games, including some truly classic titles. We've got the lowdown on battle tanks, Global Assault, with some rather morbid advice about committing suicide if you're losing a bit dark, but effective I suppose. Then there's Resident Evil 2, where you can learn how to deal with that pesky crocodile, and even unlock a secret scenario. But that's not all. The page also shines a spotlight on Toy Story 2, offering hints on how to get unlimited lives and beat RC without a hitch. And for those looking to blast their way through enemies, Jet Force Gemini gets a mention with handy tips on picking the right ammo. It's a real treasure trove for any gamer wanting to get ahead. This page is your essential guide to conquering all sorts of Nintendo 64 challenges. We've got the lowdown on Resident Evil 2, with a great tip for dealing with William when he mutates, and Earthworm Jim 3D, featuring some crucial advice on navigating Professor Monkey's treacherous banana mines. For Jet Force Gemini, we're told how to snag those elusive earplugs and beat Mazar with a fantastic ending. Then there's Gex 3, Deep Cover Gecko, where you can discover how to get those tricky Gex tokens. We also dive into Castlevania, Legacy of Darkness, with a tip for tackling Dracula and his minions. Plus, there's vital Pokemon advice on who to pick at the start and how to catch Mewtwo. Below that, the New Ways to Play section offers some cracking ideas to liven up your old games, with a specific tip for racing cops and robbers, and a brilliant strategy for GoldenEye 007 guard herding. It's all about making those classic experiences even better. And don't forget to send in your own tips for a chance to win some Ace Nintendo gear. This page is your essential guide to conquering all sorts of Nintendo 64 challenges. We've got the lowdown on Resident Evil 2, with a great tip for dealing with William when he mutates, and Earthworm Jim 3D, featuring some crucial advice on navigating Professor Monkey's treacherous banana mines. For Jet Force Gemini, we're told how to snag those elusive earplugs and beat Mazar with a fantastic ending. Then there's Gex 3, Deep Cover Gecko, where you can discover how to get those tricky Gex tokens. We also dive into Castlevania, Legacy of Darkness, with a tip for tackling Dracula and his minions. Plus, there's vital Pokemon advice on who to pick at the start and how to catch Mewtwo. Below that, the New Ways to Play section offers some cracking ideas to liven up your old games, with a specific tip for racing cops and robbers, and a brilliant strategy for GoldenEye 007 guard herding. It's all about making those classic experiences even better. And don't forget to send in your own tips for a chance to win some Ace Nintendo gear. The next page is a massive advert for Cheats Unlimited, offering tips and tricks for over 3,000 games. It features Donkey Kong and a rather serious-looking fellow ready to dispense advice, promising simple calls to get you the winning edge. The advert also includes a list of games, a phone number for persons aged 16 or over, and a web address for further cheating assistance. This page details the Mega Challenge, an in-magazine competition where 4 Nintendo 64 fans battled it out in Donkey Kong 64's Battle Arena. We meet the contenders: Mashadul Kabir from Bedfordshire, Peter Barrett from Northern Ireland, Michael Briggs from Glasgow, and Hedley Gabriel from Woodford Green, Essex. Each is described with their preferred character and a witty quote. The climax of the competition saw Michael take a risky gamble with his chunky character, ultimately securing victory. The article highlights Michael's gutsy final move, earning him a Nom t-shirt, Game Boy accessories, and his choice of N64 games. It sounds like a thrilling contest, and well done to Michael for pulling off that win. This page is all about a Donkey Kong 64 competition. We've got the lowdown on the Mega Challenge from Rare, and it seems our champions are battling it out in Onguard's Arena. You're going to have a blast trying to beat these scores, so get practicing. Apparently, Onguard's Arena can be found in bonus games after you've met 6 fairies in adventure mode. The final showdown will be in the DK64 Battle Arena, so you'd best be brushing up on that too. Don't forget to include your phone number on your entry, and make sure you're free on Saturday, June 3rd for the grand finale at Nom Towers. This page is a guide to WWF WrestleMania 2000, focusing on unlocking hidden wrestlers and mastering the game's tougher moves. It features a Get in the Ring section, with various unlockable options, a Team Games section showing how to pair up wrestlers for tag teams, and a Fighting Dirty guide detailing underhand tactics. The page highlights specific wrestlers like Mark Henry, D'Lo Brown, Bradshaw, and the Hardy Boys. There's also a section on unlocking Shawn Michaels, Cactus Jack, and Dude Love, with tips on how to achieve these unlocks through the game's various modes and tournaments. It's a comprehensive look at adding some serious muscle to your roster. This page dives into how to conquer WWF WrestleMania 2000, offering essential strategies to become the ultimate champion. It breaks down the Road to WrestleMania mode, emphasizing the need to win WWF titles to progress, and suggests using weapon fights to your advantage. We also get a peek at the brutal hardcore matches, where using weapons and Irish whips to stun opponents is key to victory. The guide then moves on to win 3-way matches, where it's every man for himself, and offers tactical advice on how to handle multiple opponents. Finally, it tackles tag team matches, stressing the importance of teamwork and knowing when to swap out your partner to avoid getting beaten down. It seems like if you want to truly master this game, you'll need to employ some dirty tactics and smart play. This page is all about how to become the ultimate champion in WWF WrestleMania 2000. We dive into the main events of the game, starting with the prestigious King of the Ring tournament. It's a tough challenge, requiring good win/loss stats, so you'd better be practicing. Then we move on to the Royal Rumble, a true test of endurance, where you have to outlast all other competitors. The guide offers some cracking tips, like using the ropes to your advantage and avoiding brawls. Next up is the SummerSlam event, where if you've conquered the King of the Ring, you'll be facing the legendary Dude Love. Champions can get challenged frequently here, potentially defending multiple belts in 1 week, so be prepared. Finally, we've got a section on eye candy, for those who want to pull off the most impressive moves. It covers tag team action, and suggests using the 3D stick for special moves. It really seems like this game is all about strategic dirty tactics, and knowing when to unleash your best moves to become the ultimate WWF champion. This page is a fantastic guide to creating your own wrestlers in WWF WrestleMania 2000, and then shows you how to build some classic WWF characters and even some Street Fighter legends. We've got instructions to build Jake the Snake Roberts and Sergeant Slaughter, complete with all the stats you need to make them look and fight just like their real-life counterparts. Over on the other side, you can recreate Ryu and Ken from the iconic Street Fighter series, and even Zangief, giving you a rather eclectic roster to play with. The guide also touches on creating female wrestlers, which the game itself doesn't easily allow, but offers a workaround to clone existing female characters and customize them. It's a brilliant way to get the most out of the game's creator wrestler mode. This page is a great read for all you dedicated Mario fans out there. We've got a fantastic section where two of the magazine's finest, Sean and Rich, tackle your burning questions. They're diving into the nitty-gritty of Game Boy Advance, discussing rumors of a South Park game, and even what it would be like to have Bowser as an evil pirate. There's also some chat about the Dolphin console, with suggestions for aquatic-themed games, and a rather interesting idea for a James Bond and Joanna Dark Team UP. And the fun doesn't stop there. We've crowned our Mario's winner for the month, with some excellent letters from the community. Plus, there's a chance to win some sweet goodies by sending in your top 3 in 64 games to survive Bowser's prison. Jared Campbell is our lucky winner this time, and he's got some classic choices with WWF WrestleMania 2000 and Super Smash Bros. For his survival. It sounds like he'd have a blast fighting off Bowser with all those Nintendo characters. This page is a fantastic dive into all things Nintendo, featuring a Q and a Q and a T with the legendary Shigeru Miyamoto himself. He tackles some burning questions from fans, including the possibility of a WWF wrestling game for Dolphin, and why the Jungle Emperor Leo movie project was cancelled. We also get the lowdown on the next console, codenamed Dolphin, and Miyamoto shares his thoughts on potential games. There's also a section for fan mail, with one reader hoping for a Game Boy Color section, and another praising Dave's cool shirt from issue 90. And of course we have the Mario's Winner segment, where a lucky reader's letter gets a special mention. Plus, the page includes a helpful guide on how to send in your own emails for a chance to be featured. It's a true celebration of the Nintendo community and the genius behind it all. This page is a brilliant blend of fan interaction and game discussion. We've got Mario's hit list, a fantastic idea for getting readers involved, posing some crucial questions about Dolphin, Pokemon and first-person shooters on the N64. Then, there's Ask Rare, where the gruff Uncle Tusk tackles reader queries about dinosaur-themed games, opening the final stage in 007, and even the rather peculiar matter of piercings on Donkey Kong's 64 characters. Plus we get a Mario's Winner shout-out to Kurt Appleby from Cleveland for his excellent thoughts on Pokemon. It's a proper look at what the fans are thinking, and the developers' responses. This page is a fantastic rogues gallery showcasing reader art and opinions. We see a collection of impressive fan drawings, including a non-fighter's 64-piece, and a self-portrait by Christopher Moffat. Mario's Hotline features reader comments, with some witty remarks about game characters and gameplay. The Mario's Winner section celebrates a reader's idea for a new South Park game. It's a proper celebration of the Nintendo fanbase. This page is all about Pokemon Mania hitting the UK, and frankly it's quite intense. We get to dive into the Pokemon Center, which is apparently the home of the official UK Pokemon League. There's a chat about the Pokemon Tour 2000, with readers turning up in droves for some monster mashing. It also teases more Pokémon action with the N64 smash hit, Pokémon Stadium, and trading events. Then we get to Meet the Pokemasters, featuring some serious trainers like Johnny Baker, Paul Shipway, Helen Corby, and Leith Roberts, along with their formidable Pokémon squads. It looks like everyone's got their favorite Pokémon, from Venusaur to Mewtwo, and they're all battling it out. Some readers have their Pokémon's levels and types commented on, with advice on how to improve their teams. It's a real testament to how popular Pokémon is, with everyone trying to build the ultimate squad. And of course there's a plug for Nintendo Official Magazine to keep up with all the latest Pokémon news. This page is absolutely bursting with Pokémon. We've got the Ultimate Poké Warrior feature, showcasing a reader's fantastic Charizard creation, complete with a Blastoise body and Hitmonlee legs, a truly monstrous fusion. The Pokémon Tour 2000 dates and venues are laid out, so you can catch them if you're near any of the listed locations. It also highlights the Pokemaniac of the month, Victoria Walden, whose Pokémon-themed bedroom is epic. Plus, there's a chance to win a Pokémon the First Movie soundtrack CD by answering a simple question. The sheer dedication to Pokémon is incredible, and this page really captures the frenzy. This page is a celebration of Pokémon fan art. We see a fantastic collection of reader submissions, with special mentions for Tracy Chung's Pikachu, Guillaume Revoir's epic Pikachu vs Mewtwo painting, and Ted Timmins' brilliant portrayal of Ash as the greatest Poké-trainer. There's also a guide on how to draw Tentacruel, which is a nice touch for aspiring artists. The page really showcases the passion of the fanbase, with so many talented youngsters sending in their amazing creations. It's clear that Pokémon is a massive hit. This page is a jam-packed competition bonanza, featuring 5 chances to win some seriously cool stuff. First up in Top Tunes, 1, you can win one of 10 copies of the Now That's What I Call Music, 45 Candelas. To enter, you need to identify the girl band that Posh, Baby, Scary and Sporty are part of. Honestly, it's a no-brainer. Next, Get Set, 2, offers 5 copies of Track and Field Summer Games for the Nintendo 64, courtesy of Konami. The question is, where will the Olympic Games be held? Easy peasy. Then we have Watches, 3, where 5 lucky winners can snag a Pokémon watch. You just need to know which Pokémon evolves into Wigglytuff. I'm sure you all know the answer. For the cartoon fanatics, Cartoon Time, 4, has a competition to win a copy of South Park, the movie Bigger, Longer and Uncut, and a Cartoon Network video. The crucial question here is what Officer Barbrady's job is. Finally, in Rev Your Engines, 5, you have the chance to win copies of Jeremy McGrath's Supercross 2000. The challenge? State how many times Jeremy McGrath has been Supercross champion. And if you're wondering how to win any of these fantastic prizes, just follow the simple 4-step guide under How to Win. It's all about postcards and licking stamps, the classic way to enter. This page is essentially a showcase for the upcoming James Bond game, The World Is Not Enough on the Nintendo 64. It highlights the game's action-packed premise, placing you in the shoes of 007 himself, battling across 10 levels inspired by the film. It even mentions a 4-player deathmatch mode, which sounds like a brilliant addition for some multiplayer mayhem. We also get a look at some of the Nintendo 64 and Game Boy Color releases, including Army Men Air Combat, Bomberman 64, and the Game Boy Color's Pokémon Attack. Honestly, if you're a Bond fan or just love a good shooter, this looks like it's going to be a blast. This page features a preview of the Nintendo 64 game, The World Is Not Enough. It boasts that the game will feature an awesome arsenal of guns and gadgets, including superb semi-automatic pistols and anti-tank rocket launchers. A key gadget highlighted is Bond's night sight, which will be essential for taking down enemy soldiers in the dark. The article also shows some impressive in-game graphics, recreating famous scenes from the film. The reviewer thinks Bond is back and ready to give GoldenEye 007 a run for its money, praising the stunning graphics and a multiplayer mode that's to die for. It sounds like a must-buy for any Bond aficionado or shooter fan. This page showcases the Nintendo 64's Army Men Air Combat with a striking green soldier graphic. The game is described as a 3D shooter with awesome multiplayer, featuring 16 missions where you play as Captain William Blade, battling it out in the skies. You'll need to find new parts for your helicopters and collect ammo and armor to take down enemies. The page also gives us a peek at other upcoming titles. Polaris Snowcross promises high-tech snowmobile racing with plenty of jumps and shortcuts. Then there's Pokémon Attack, a puzzle game coming to both N64 and Game Boy Color, and Quarterback Club 2001 for the N64, featuring Brett Favre and the removal of the Juke move. Finally, we hear about more racing action from Midway with Cruisin' Exotica, and a special exchange offer for DK64 owners who can trade in their game, and N64 expansion pack for F-Zero X or 1080-degree snowboarding. The We Think section offers a review of Sarge's Heroes, noting that while it was a great game, poor camera angles let it down. The reviewer hopes this niggling fault is sorted out for future shoot-'em-ups. Lastly, a substantial preview of Zelda Majora's Mask highlights Link's new adventure, introducing a tall, skinny boss called Odolph. It also mentions the game's fierce battles, and the importance of managing your time to talk to villagers before they go to bed. This page is a massive advert for Wickedware, the Nintendo specialists. It's a veritable treasure trove of N64 goodies, with everything from consoles and expansion packs to a whole host of classic N64 games like Pokémon Stadium, Donkey Kong 64 and Star Wars Episode iRacer. They've even got action figures from Tomb Raider and Metal Gear Solid, plus licensed Nintendo products like Diddy Kong Racing and Pokémon beanies. And if you're looking to get behind the wheel, there are RIN 64 wheels and a driving seat on offer. It's a gamer's paradise, really. This page features a fantastic look at the Pokémon movie, Pokémon the First Movie, which is out in cinemas now. It tells us there are 2 movies on the bill, with Pikachu's Vacation being a shorter film with knockabout fun for the younger fans. The main movie, Mewtwo Strikes Back, sounds a bit more sinister and scary, which is always a good thing. It promises all your favorite Pokémon will appear, and if you're a keen observer, you might even spot Mew, who is apparently a little cutie. We see a majestic Mewtwo, surveying his kingdom, ready to battle Ash and pals, and then a shot of Ash, with Pikachu heading to a summer camp. There's also a glimpse of Mewtwo escaping, and a rather epic image of Charizard with a host of other Pokémon, looking ready for action. This page showcases the excitement surrounding the Pokémon movie, Pokémon the First Movie. We hear about Elliot Stewart from Wandsworth winning tickets and taking his mate Callum Russell to see the film. They both loved Mewtwo Strikes Back, praising its story and the Pokémon featured, even snagging the first copies of the non-Pokémon Master Guide. The page also features some cool screenshots, including Ash with Pikachu and other Pokémon like Squirtle and Vulpix, and a chilling shot of Mewtwo looking menacing. There's also a brief mention of Mew, described as a super cool Pokémon that will win you over. Finally, a We Think section boldly declares that fans won't want to miss these Pokémon adventures, but warns parents and older fans that the movie might just melt your mind. This page is all about Kirby 64, the crystal shards, and it looks like a proper treat for platformer fans. We're told Kirby's back, and ready to save the fairies of Ripplestar from the evil dark matter, by collecting the 6 crystal shards. It sounds like a classic Kirby adventure, but with a 3D twist, and they're even comparing it to Yoshi's Island, which is high praise indeed. The screenshots give us a good look at Kirby's new abilities, like turning into a rock to chomp on baddies and using his powers to become a Swiss Army knife. Genius! We see him floating like a pink balloon and facing off against some rather menacing-looking underwater foes, including a rather large orca that looks like it means business. Plus, there's a mention of a boss fight, and it seems there are plenty of weird and wonderful critters to encounter. The We Think section sums it up nicely. It's guaranteed to be fun, cute, and challenging enough for all platformer fans. Sounds like a winner to me. This page is an advert for Puma Street Soccer. It outlines a competition where teams can represent the UK at the World Finals in Kuala Lumpur. Regional qualifiers are happening across the UK, with prizes including a Puma kit and travel to the finals. It also provides a hotline number and entry form details. This page dives into the thrilling world of Indy Racing League 2000 for the N64. It's a purebred 3D racer that promises speeds of over 225 miles per hour, and all the excitement of the Indy scene. The reviewer highlights the fierce competition on the oval tracks, and warns that you'll need to master the racing line or risk a rather messy encounter with the concrete walls. With 5 gameplay options including championship, competition and multiplayer, it sounds like there's plenty of bang for your buck. The screenshots showcase some rather impressive graphics for the time, with one particularly noting the amazing scenery and waterfall. The overall verdict is that Indy Racing League 2000 is looking very impressive and is a solid contender for American-style racing action, even suggesting you might forget NASCAR for this one. We also get a peek at Looney Tunes Collector, an adventure game where you'll be helping Bugs Bunny and company find Marvin the Martian's lost teleporter pieces. It sounds like a proper platformer, with a quest across 20 different Looney Tunes worlds. The game requires a Game Boy link cable to collect all 52 characters, which is a neat touch for those who love their collection mechanics. The description playfully warns that you'll need to stay away from Marvin's bubblegum or face the consequences. This page features 2 exciting 64 games. First up is Roswell Conspiracies, Aliens, Myths and Legends, an action-adventure game where you play as Nick, Logan and Blaze, investigating a UFO crash in Roswell. It promises a mix of exploration, arcade action, and puzzle solving. Then we have Hercules, The Legendary Journeys, where you'll harness Hercules' incredible strength and elemental attacks to defeat his brother Ars. You can even play as Serena, the Golden Hind. The page also includes a rather fetching advert for Jakarta, offering the latest games and PC software online at low prices, with a phone number to boot. This page is a treasure trove of Nintendo 64 news. We get a first look at Picasso, an action-adventure title from Promethean Design, where you'll be sneaking around and stealing art, using cool gadgets like night vision goggles. The screenshots show some rather atmospheric, albeit creepy, environments, hinting at a stealthy and challenging gameplay experience. Over in the Dolphin News section, it's all about what's to come. We've got Baywatch babe Pamela Anderson starring in her own dolphin adventure, and it sounds like Acclaim is hoping for a big launch, with a potential new Turok game. THQ is also on board with development kits, and we can expect more announcements soon, maybe even a wrestling title. Midway's got their sights set on Dolphin 2, with plans for a sequel to Ready 2 Rumbles, potentially with Game Boy Color support. And get this, there's even talk of Game Boy Advance being linked to Dolphin, allowing downloads and even mobile phone capabilities. Imagine that. Plus, Harry Potter is heading to Dolphin, promising an adventure filled with wizardly exploits. Finally, the page rounds off with Title Defense, a boxing game that looks pretty brutal. It's all about 12 grueling rounds, tactics, and getting advice from your corner. The screenshots of the boxers look quite impressive, with one seemingly down for the count after a solid right hook. It seems like Dolphin is shaping up to be a seriously powerful console, with a diverse range of games on the horizon. This page is a fantastic advertisement for various gaming retailers and services, focusing on mail order. We've got KingCat, offering Pokemon merchandise and releases, alongside strategy guides. Then there's Game Collection, with a huge list of Nintendo 64 and Game Boy games, plus the cool-sounding Cybernet video games experts for all your PC, CD-ROM and Dreamcast needs. And don't forget Console King for online internet store access and game exchange, plus the rather intriguing Cheats and Tips service for Nintendo 64 and other consoles. All in all, a gamer's paradise for getting their hands on the latest and greatest. This page is the front cover of the magazine, hyping up the latest Nintendo 64 releases. We've got the iconic Banjo-Kazooie front and center, promising plenty of mischief and mayhem. Inside, they're boasting about being the biggest and the best, with promises of all the latest Nintendo 64 games and the coolest tips and tricks. Plus, there are reviews for ISS Millennium and Zelda Majora's Mask, and a look at Excitebike 64 and Taz Express. Sounds like a must-have for any Nintendo fan. This page is the front cover, and it's a cracking display for Perfect Dark, the spiritual successor to GoldenEye 007. We've got Joanna Dark herself, looking all serious and ready for action, holding that iconic futuristic weapon. The cover promises a deep dive into the game, highlighting its action-packed levels, cool gadgets, stealth tactics, and, crucially, its multiplayer excitement. Over on the side, we're treated to a glimpse of what's hot on the Game Boy Color, with Pokémon Stadium and Ridge Racer 64 getting a mention in the tips section, alongside a shot that looks suspiciously like Super Mario 64. It's a real N64 showcase, all wrapped up with the tantalizing prospect of more Dolphin news and Club Mario content inside. A must-see for any self-respecting N64 enthusiast. This page is the ultimate Nintendo quiz. We've got 3 rounds to test your knowledge. General knowledge, name the game, and Talking Nintendo, where you'll match famous catchphrases to their N64 stars. Plus, there's a Who the Hell section to identify some iconic characters. The big question at the bottom offers a chance to win some awesome prizes, including Capri Sun XXL and a Star Wars Episode 1 VHS. Looks like a proper challenge for any true Nintendo fan. This page is a full-page advert for the Special Reserve Discount Club, offering membership for £6.99 and a free gift with purchase. It highlights various games, consoles, and accessories with prices and savings, like the Game Boy Color with Pokémon for £62.99, and the Nintendo 64 with a free controller for £74.98. There's also information on how to order, and a list of club shops. This page is a cracking full-page advert for Midway's Game Boy Color titles, showcasing Rampage 2, Universal Tour, Marble Madness, Billy Bob's Hunting and Fishing, and Ready 2 Rumble Boxing. It boldly claims you can't lose with these games, but you will lose to Afro Thunder. A truly magnificent display of arcade action coming your way.